You're already in Loserville and you want to grandstand on people and lose. Wow, you're the king of losers. You're the loser atop of losers. Wow, what a big boy. Wow. Oh my god. You know, once we have our own taste, our own perspective, and we are in an environment where the general consensus is exactly the way the things, how we see them and how we appreciate them, how we feel them, it's very hard to, let's just say, accept other tastes, other perspectives that are not within the general consensus that has been established due to our own experiences, our own tastes, etc. I think people are different, people like what they like, and life is a lot easier when you just think in absolutes. Things that are very, very simpler then. And this type of conversation is very much so highlighted in the gacha space. I feel like people like what they like. All right. You don't have to necessarily play the best thing out there. I feel like in video games as a whole, really. I mean, you see, I don't know if you guys take the public transportation, but if you look around, you typically will see people just playing like some shitty ass mobile games, and they seem to be having a good time, right? Like it's not a big deal, all right? Like they could be playing Honkai Star Rail in their mobile device, Hearthstone, good, well polished mobile games. You know what I'm saying? Instead, they're playing some 2D whatever Candy Crush. They still be on Candy Crush. But that's not but at some point in time we also appreciated Candy Crush. Like it's not a bad video game. Like if you're just sitting there wanting to just have something to do or just want to have fun with something, as long as you appreciate and can find enjoyment in a game, regardless of what people are saying about it, that shouldn't matter as long as you're having fun. That's the main principle of video games. I feel like if the whole point of playing a video game is simply to enjoy the term game. Like when we hear the term game, equates to doing the game means playing the game means playing, as in having fun. Playfulness equates to having fun. As long as you're having fun, you have enjoyment, and it's a positive experience for you as a person, right? I feel like that's as simple as it can get, right? Right? It's all in the wordings. It's all in the wording. Now, unfortunately, considering how people go about tackling video games nowadays, since they can be time consuming in terms of progression, like there's a lot of investment, there's a lot of time, a lot of effort, money even, the conversation starts to become a little bit trickier. So whilst we understand that people should respect other people's perspective, etc., we do also have to understand where this entire let's just say tribalistic slash strategic approach to video games and to type of a device is given. Why is it given? Well, it's because of that. Because the fact is, you are still putting in a lot of time, effort, money, what have you, into these games, and people want others to do the wisest thing, right? The thing that will not harm them and can benefit them the best. All right, that's what I feel like is something very important to understand, so that way you are not very, let's just say, defensive in when people trying to give you advice and what could be your best approach when it comes to video games. Now, obviously, you shouldn't even really give a shit because it's not that big of a deal. Video games don't have that much of an impact in terms of how much they can hurt you in your daily life, unless, of course, you have a huge addiction problem to those games. At that point, that's a different ball game. But I feel like any video game, regardless of the advice you give, like if that's a person problem, like there's a problem with the person itself more so than the video game itself, despite the video game having predatory practices. However, we'd have to also keep in mind that some video games encourage that as well through their predatory practices and their manipulation tactics. So we have to call those out when we see that people are trying to, let's just say, dive more into them. We have to give a fair warning, as those games will not give that fair warning because they want to take advantage of those people's weaknesses. We as individuals, before we even gamers, like as an individual, you have to make sure that people are aware of the dangers of this particular thing. You can have fun as long as you are disciplined. I feel like this is something very much so accentuated in the gacha space. You can have fun as long as you are disciplined. That's right. As long as you have discipline, a lot of the predatory practices, a lot of the bullshit they throw at us, it's not really a big of a deal. So why are we talking about, let's just say, some degree of tribalism and all this stuff. Well, it seems we have good old Asmongold. That's right, man. That is right. We have the OG in the house talking about Asmongold gives his opinion on the current oversaturated gacha game landscape. And we have to admit, we have a lot of gachas nowadays. Oh, we do. We're eating good, baby. Oh, we're eating really good. And if you can play multiples, more power to you. I feel like once it's game time, you play what you can and you play what you like. And as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. However, just make sure, once again, you're disciplined, responsible when it comes to the games that want you to spend, so that way they don't get in the way of things that are very important in your life. All right. However, if you can afford them and all that, more power to you. And so anyway, apparently he just says just play Withering Waves. That's the only good one. Let's see what the context is, and we'll go from there and break this down.
On and buried at this point.
I think the same thing has happened. Like a really good microcosm of this is anime style character selector gacha games with different characters that do different types of attacks, like fire, ice, elemental attacks.
Yes.
There are right now too many games on the market for that audience, and there's even more of these games coming out. You still have Silver Palace releasing, and you also, you have Azure Premilia releasing as well.
That's true.
Both of these games, I think people like NTE is a good game, but there are so many people that are already invested into Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves that it's hard for any of these new games to catch on, because there's already so much attention for the existing ones.
Absolutely, 100%. And the fact is, these games prey and have a strong hold on players due to the sunk cost fallacy. And I feel like the sunk cost fallacy in these games is very much so accentuated because you understand within yourself that my account is the way it is because I put this much time and effort on it due to how the predatory practices of these games are. Okay, so what I'm trying to say with is this. If you play and you level up an account, that's just a level. You know what I mean? That's just a level of an account. It doesn't necessarily matter. For gachas, there's a new layer of all these gacha units you have gotten, and you see the reruns, and to get them in the rerun you still have to spend. Therefore, you have a certain degree of value you have obtained through your playthrough of all this time. You have all these characters, all these units, all these weapons, right? All those resources, stamina gated resources. You need days, actual real life days, to be able to obtain those things. That is a lot of effort within that. Accounts can get sold, but then again, that's in everything. But I feel like one of the things that when I see the selling account websites really highlight is what you get in terms of gacha and in terms of the efforts poured within the account in terms of resources. And those resources I feel are very, very important because of how many days it takes to even be able to do that. You can't just launch a new game and just start grinding everything like you would in another video game, or like speed run it. You can't do that. You can't speed run into leveling a character to max level like in one day. That's just very hard as like a new game. Like you just start an account and you just want to level it max. I don't think you can do that in a gacha without spending. I don't think you can do that. So when you factor in these things, it becomes very, very hard to just drop these games, especially if you are involved within the community, especially if your devices cannot keep up with new releases, especially when you consider the fact, they're all technically the same. I might ruffle some feathers on this one, but the fact is, some of them play a little different, but all in all, the formula, all are familiar. It feels like the same game. It's just Withering Waves is the most fluid and more combat mechanically demanding. NTE is like a close second, but not really. I still feel like they need to up the fluidity there. And then you have Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact is a little more rigid. But however, beyond the combat, and of course, like the combat, I feel like NTE, basically, if you play Genshin and Withering Waves, it's basically just a mix of the two. It feels like you've played this game before. Let's call a spade a spade. It's a good game. It's like Asmon even said. Even Asmon is saying NTE it's a good game. Like it's a good game. It's not the best. Oh shit! And I think that's what they're trying to do with NTE. I don't think they want it to be the best. They're obviously capitalizing on the success of Genshin Impact Withering Waves, and I think that's the point he's trying to paint here. Is people that are already in Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves are gonna have a hard time moving to NTE because NTE is not necessarily doing something revolutionary. You know what I mean? And because of this oversaturation, it's like if you played the one, you played them all type of vibe. I feel like he's kind of trying to say here too. And also, why play all of them when you can just give the advice of what is clearly supposed to be the best product in terms of polish, optimization, etc., with dev practices that have shown that the game, like if you're gonna give advice, you know, the best advice to give is to, you know, advise people to play the best thing. You know, that's the thing that's more worth your buck, money and effort, and have the best approach of the whole oversaturation of just play the one you have and just ignore the rest that are coming out, because once you play one, you basically played them all type of vibe and approach. But I feel like personally, like because of the game post game, see this, okay, Asmon doesn't play every day. This type of advice works if you log in from time to time, you spend a little bit to catch up, to level up your characters and everything, and then you log out again. This really works 100%. However, for people that log in every single day and want to get more game time out of these games, it's not necessarily there. So the best approach is to add in other ones that still have a familiar approach to how you play them. They're basically the same. It's just that they're somewhat different in their play style. That's it. That's basically the approach that I feel like a lot of players have nowadays. That's how I'm able to play both WUWA and NTE with no issues whatsoever. I've been playing both since this launch of NTE. I'm having a good time 100%. They're pretty much the same. It's just that WUWA feels smoother. That's really it, and is more polished in terms of the art style, etc. That's really the only difference.
And I think that fundamentally they reached market saturation, and people have already made a literal investment, right? They spent $1,000 on their favorite waifu on these games.
Absolutely.
And now they're not.
They don't even have to spend $1,000. You don't even need to spend the money. I have huge sunk cost fallacy, for example, on SSR or Genshin Impact. Shit, even Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I remember I lost my account. I remember losing my account, and I lied to you, I was freaking the fuck out. And I think I spent like 6 months. Sometimes I would, because here's how I spent 6 months trying to get it back. I would try to get it back. I will fail. I will forget. And then I'll remember one day. And I'm like, shit, I was going to try again. I fail again. And I kept trying and trying until I finally, once I remembered it for like the 7th time or something, I finally managed to get it back. The reason why I didn't start a new account is because why would I start a new account when I clearly have an account? I just need to find it. And, you know, but the practice, at some point, I feel like I was pressing myself and I was making my experience towards the game worse for trying to get that account when I could just play the game anew if it was enjoyable without resources, of course. I think that's a very important point. I forgot to mention it before, but I feel like that's something that we gotta mention. We gotta talk about. If these games were fun without resources, that wouldn't be much of an issue. There wouldn't be much. Fact is, a lot of these games require those resources. They require the gacha stuff to actually be enjoyable. So it's very important to keep in mind. I'm just saying, look, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Not willing to give that up. I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, because I've spent all this effort into it. And money isn't everything. Just the effort of it is a lot.
Summoners Wars is the original gacha. I don't give a fuck about that piece of shit.
Based.
Fuck that game.
Based.
The game sucks.
Yep.
You play Wuthering Waves. That's the only good one.
Yeah.
And it's their fault.
Shut the fuck
They're
up.
the ones that did this.
Yeah, see, well, here it is. He's just, you know, he's in toxic mode. There, look at that.
Wuthering Waves. That's the only good one. The game sucks.
Game sucks.
You play Wuthering Waves. That's the
only good one. Yeah.
And it's their fault. They're the ones that did this. We don't have anything to do with it outside of just not playing those games in this case. But these guys had a good thing, but they just couldn't get.
See, he's looking at chat. You know, I think he's just messing around. As you can see earlier, he said NTE is a good game. I'm pretty sure he will mention that. Like, for example, Hawkeye Star Rail, that's a good game. So anyway, obviously, you know, that's not much. Let's just say tribalism going on here. Obviously, John Simon is gonna. I appreciate John Simon for actually even letting us know he clipped this and actually gave it to everybody. Now, obviously, to no one's surprise, tribalistic individuals will use Asmongold's, let's just say, response to a chatter. It's for fanning the flame of tribalism. Classic. Once again, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like this is not a big deal. But so yeah. Anyway, there it is. There it is. I feel like all in all, even when someone like Asmongold, who is let's just say also in his perspective, like games like these that are more polished, they're good games. Still says that these are the good games is quite a green light. It's a huge positive towards these games that are, well, clearly, for lack of a better word, incomplete. We need to wait for God knows how long to get more areas and stuff like that. Live service model kind of weak as hell. We need to play multiples to fill in the holes and the void these games leave. It's a hassle. It's a hassle. But all in all, just getting the green light from someone as a veteran, because these are like these old school gamers. Like I'm kind of old school gamer, but I don't think I have played as many video games as Asmon here. I heard of Summoner's War. I think it's a mobile game, gacha game, whatever, microtransaction type of game. But I never played it myself. But yeah, there it is, man. There it is. I feel like all these games can be good dependent on the person in question. What is good to you doesn't necessarily have to be good to me. What is good to me doesn't have necessarily to be good to you. But sometimes we might find something that is good for both of us. And that's just the thing, man. That's just the thing. Respecting other people's perspectives, respecting other people's tastes, respecting other people's enjoyment. And we just, all we have to do as people in the community is, one, support each other. So if I'm lost, I don't know what to do in a video game. I feel like the origin of how gaming communities were even made was obviously that there was a why, and what I get from it. And two, I feel like most importantly, because of the live service model that these games have, dev practices come into play, and these dev practices have to be called out, so that way we, the player base, can receive dev practices that are tolerable and are for the benefit that are pro-consumer, and of course be in a middle ground where also the developer can still profit off the game, because, well, if the developers don't profit off the game will eventually die because of, once again, its live service model. So yeah, there it is. I feel like the perfect middle is where we want to be. It's going to be very hard because we got to keep balancing stuff out, and that can be very challenging sometimes because of other factions that were made within the space because of tribalistic nature, due to people lacking in their daily lives and needing some degree of validation, and they get it off by associating their own self-worth to these video games, so that they can feel better about themselves by dunking on others that are not playing a video game that sells 2D anime girls. Like, you're already in Loserville and you want to grandstand on people and lose. Wow, you're the king of losers. You're the loser atop of losers. Wow, what a big boy. Wow. Oh my god. But anyway, I feel like you'll notice playing the video game is not really the problem. The attitude in which some of these people are trying to behave as in this space is just so corny. So these goofballs, man, like, Jesus Christ, like, get bitches, for crying out loud. We need to normalize sex work, and that sex work needs to be applied to a lot of these motherfuckers in Gacha. We do. But anyway, that's a topic for another time, man. It's a topic for another time. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Be easy.